Okay, great. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, what's your name?
Well, my name is Charlei Baylor.
Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, and who are you on a soul level?
Who am I on a soul level? I would say that I'm definitely a believer. I think that is the first thing. My faith is a very big part of me, and then after that, I would go with I'm a writer or creative.
Okay, so what, I guess, are there anything, I don't know, is there anything that's happened in your life or anything going on right now that has made you who you are? Or affected you as a person?
Yeah, I would say a lot has affected me as a person. I think at the core, I'm definitely just a giver. I've seen so much, and so much has happened in terms of anywhere from sexual abuse or sexual assaults to just life, where it's just like there's so much that has been taken from me and from others that I just want to give back into the world.
Okay. And you said that you're a creative and you're a writer, so can you talk a little bit about that? Like, are you doing anything with that right now?
Yeah, so, well, I've always been a writer. That's something that I relied on and that has kept me going pretty much all my life. And it's always anything from poetry to stories to more by trade, where I do journalism and public relations with my own business. But a big part of my writing right now is in spoken word and then my blog, which essentially is just an intersection of faith and mental health awareness.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 3 categories. I want you to pick like which means the most to you and which means the least. And you can mix and match too, because a lot of this stuff, some people think they go together, some people think they don't. So
Okay.
up to you. The first category is love, sex, and relationships. The next is society, culture, and politics. And the third is spirituality and religion. So which one of those groups of things, or any of those things, I guess, takes the front seat in your life, and which kind of trickles down?
I would say spirituality and religion.
Okay. Are you more spiritual or religious? Or both?
It depends on who's asking. Technically, I'm considered religious because I'm Christian, but I don't consider myself religious because it's all about relationship for me. It's not about whatever the church says I need to do or whatever people's personal convictions are. It's more about what I hear from God. It's more about what the Bible tells me.
Okay.
So it's not traditional for me.
So how did you get to a place where you could form your own relationship with God minus the church? Like, how did you step into that?
I definitely still go to church, and church is a big part of my life. I just don't want to be governed by other people who are figuring it out.
Okay.
So I've been in church pretty much all my life, but it was never something where, my parents had to get me to go to church. It's just always been something very personal for me. So I think that's why I feel like it's an intersection between spiritual, but I've never said religious because I feel like when it's religious, it's not really Jesus. It's more what your pastor said or what convictions come from the church.
Okay. Cool. So, love, sex, and relationships, and society, culture, and politics. So, out of those things, I guess top to bottom, like what means the most? And
I would say love, sex, and relationships. That would be the next one.
Okay.
And in what capacity do you?
You can go as deep as you want to.
Sure. I would say definitely love and relationships are very they're very interesting for me. I find that it's very hard in terms of dating or even finding love in a society where sex is at the forefront. For me, that isn't. Part of it is on a spiritual level because I want to, I want to be celibate until marriage, but I also have a bunch of sexual abuse and a series of sexual abuse, so it's very difficult for me to even find relationships or go on the dating path without that, when that's like at the forefront of everyone's minds nowadays.
Right, right. Is there any way that you've come to, I guess, start your healing journey from the abuse that you've endured? Or is there any advice you have for anyone who may be currently going through a sexual abuse situation?
In terms of sexual abuse, I would say, and it's hard to see it in the time where it's still fresh and still raw. I would say definitely don't let it define you. Whatever someone does to you, sexual or not, it's a reflection of who they are, and it's a reflection of their selfishness or their disdain for other people. But it's not. It doesn't reflect on you, even though it pains and hurts you. I would also say that if you feel led to report it, definitely do so, but don't feel pressured by society to save the next person when you're struggling to even save yourself right now.
Okay. And where do you stand with society, culture, and politics?
I think that I think that society and culture and politics right now is just it's up in the air. I think that it's hard to follow because I don't feel like they're following anything. It's not based on anything. It's just whatever the politicians want at the time, especially when it comes to how women are treated right now.
Yeah.
Particularly in the workforce, but also with these abortion laws, they've really been disheartening to hear, and it's all about control right now. So I think that's a big thing where I just kind of try to stay out of it. It's been very difficult for me lately to even watch the news because I don't feel like it's good for my spirit. I pick up things on Twitter, but the thing about Twitter is I can just scroll past or turn it off.
Right.
And keep it moving.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to ask you to draw.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get you to pick a color or colors that represent your mood right now.
Okay.
And some colors that represent your life in general and you as a person. Put this down.
Okay.
Okay. So what colors did you pick?
I picked yellow, orange, and red.
Okay, and why?
I chose yellow because yellow has become a very important color for me because it definitely defines happiness and it defines kind of my walk with Christ. It's something that I actually named my blog after, the Yellow Door, because it's just a journey into holiness and happiness. So that's a very important color for me and one of my favorites now. And then I picked red and orange because while I think that they're very bittersweet colors. Red can be defined, very love, very happy, very passionate and romance, but it can also be a lot of pain and anger. So I think it's a very versatile color.
Yeah.
And I think the same for orange. So I feel like that's where I am. I'm just kind of in two different realms at the same time where there's a lot of potential for love and happiness, but I'm going through a lot of strife right now.
Okay. I'm gonna give you this pad. And I just want you to draw to the best of your ability until we're done. I know a lot of people don't finish. Most people don't finish, actually. Because they don't know when I'm done the last question.
Yeah.
But so don't worry about it. Just paint whatever your soul tells you to.
Okay.
Then you're good.
Gotcha.
So the first question, what makes you the most upset?
Just in general?
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that makes me the most upset is people who lack empathy and compassion. I think that treating people well is the best thing that you can do, and I mean even biblically, all the commandments can be boiled down to love God and love others. So I just think treating people with respect and showing empathy and compassion for wherever they may be is most important. So when people don't do that, it's so disheartening.
True, I feel that. What about what excites you more than anything?
I think adventure excites me more than anything. I've always been one to love to travel, to check out new places, to really be active, whether it's rock climbing or a little bit of anything, really. I just like to just try new things and see the world.
What's been the best, adventure you've been on so far? One of your favorites?
My I've really liked Tennessee, actually. I went to Nashville earlier this year, and I felt like it was new territory. I'm not sure why there wasn't anything. There were no like amazing oceans or anything. If the same as going out of the country, but I think just the hospitality and the food was just really really beautiful there.
That's awesome. And I've heard Nashville is really nice. I definitely have to go there. I've never been to Tennessee. What are you most afraid of?
I think I'm most afraid of people. I'm afraid of connection with people because I know that like everyone isn't like me. Everybody doesn't operate in empathy and compassion, and it's so hard. It's so hard for people with tender and loving hearts to put themselves out there, and at the risk of it being broken, so to speak. Not in a romantic way, but just people can be really cruel.
Yeah, for sure. What is your favorite song right now?
My favorite song. I think my favorite song right now is "You Say" by Lauren Daigle.
I think I know that song.
Yeah, actually, she won an award for it. I don't really watch award shows, but apparently it was a big thing. But it's a song about it doesn't matter what the world says or even what I say about me. It's about who God says I am, and I think it's a really good song for encouragement.
I have to look that up. Let's see. What is social media to you? Like, what do you think about it, and how do you use it?
Social media is a bit weird for me because I use it in my career as a digital marketer. So I'm constantly working with a lot of small brands and businesses to like keep their social media presence up. But on the opposite side, in my own personal social media, I'm not big on sharing my whole life. I'm actually a pretty private person.
Yeah.
So I have an interesting relationship with it, but I do think it's a powerful tool to share your ideas and sell your businesses, sell your products. I think it's a powerful tool even to spread news because, I mean, at this point, this is how I get my news.
Right.
Especially Twitter. Twitter is like my favorite one right now.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
So what do you feel will restore connection? I guess it says in the world, but that's such a big scale. So I guess just in our generation, like, what do you think in Maryland we can do, or people in general?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, like what do you feel will restore the connection that we've lost? So people lack empathy and they lack feeling towards others. So how do you feel like we can restore that emotion and that like I see you-ness that we've lost? If we even ever had it, because humans have always been crazy, but you know.
That's for sure. I would say the best way to restore that, really to restore that humanity, I mean, that's what it boils down to, is to keep talking, to keep sharing. I think maybe the generation before us, they decided that it was best to, keep things under the table and, not share what everyone's going through. So everyone feels so alone and so scared to share. But once you share, you open up and realize that people are having the same struggles. They're having the same, after school struggles or depression or whatever. There's nothing new under the sun. So once everybody gets out their head that they're not alone and they're not special in the sense that they're the only one going through something, it will automatically build connection.
That makes sense. Do you have any weird habits?
Any weird habits? The only thing I can think of is that I'm fidgety when I'm nervous. I do a lot of my bones feel really stiff when I'm nervous, so I like do a lot of finger stretches, and that's pretty much what I do when I'm feeling like anxious.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
The craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm not sure, actually. I'm drawing a blank on that one. Can I come back to that one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What's the nicest thing you've ever done?
The nicest thing.
Or one of the things you can remember where you just like really went out of your way for somebody.
Wow, it's a hard question. I think I guess recently I helped a girl with finding her prom dress. It was something that she didn't think that she'd be able to go to prom, and making sure that she got her prom dress and her shoes, and just making her or making sure that she and her mom had what they needed to, one, not have a difficult prom shopping experience, but two, make sure that she just felt confident in the way that she looked and felt.
Well, that's sweet. Oh, prom. I feel old.
Yeah.
I feel so old. Are you self-conscious about anything?
I think that I'm pretty self-conscious about everything. I think that I'm self-conscious about everything, even though I might have skills or abilities in certain areas. Even those, it's just hard to feel like, that I'm a know-it-all or the expert. There's not much that I'm not self-conscious about, but I try not to let it stop me from continuing to do whatever I put my mind to.
Okay, change of scenery because we got kicked out of the library. I don't even remember where we were. Let's see. Tell me an interesting, funny, whatever. It doesn't even have to be funny, just whatever, a story.
Okay. The first thing that came to mind when you said childhood was like this one time where my parents thought that I'd been like kidnapped. They put me down for a nap, and I had fallen out of bed, but instead of waking up, I just kind of rolled, but I rolled under the bed, but like back up against the wall. So they had been like, checking all the windows, trying to like find me and keep calling me, and I was like fast asleep under the bed, like pushed all the way up against the wall.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And terrifying. And you were like so quiet under there. Like
I was.
You were like, I'm fine. Like,
right, and I'm the oldest, so they were just like, their first child is missing, and yeah.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. Share an embarrassing moment.
An embarrassing moment. I remember, like, does that have to be recent? No. I remember, like, being in middle school, and I don't know, I was just very excited about being able to speak a second language, and then the bus driver spoke the same language that I spoke, so I was like trying to be really cute and like say goodbye in the other language, and then I was like waving goodbye and I fell off the bus in front of everybody.
What?
And it was a pretty embarrassing moment.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you weren't hurt.
No, I wasn't hurt. It was
Okay.
just embarrassing. Pride.
Okay. I think the question that we were on before we got kicked out of the library was, what are you self-conscious about?
Okay. Right. Okay. So I was saying that, I'm self-conscious pretty much about everything. Sometimes I'm very self-conscious about the way that I look. Other times I'm self-conscious wondering if I'm like a competent enough writer or creator, especially when it comes to not being able to put out as much work as I want to or as frequently as I want to, but also realizing that I don't have to be authentic, to be good. That's been a big push and pull, in my internal monologue.
Okay. Do you look up to anyone?
I think I look up to a collection of people. I don't think there's no one that I believe is like the best, the most perfect, or anything like that. So there are certain attributes that I take from different people. I tend to have a lot of older women friends, and the people who are very rooted in their faith, people that are unshakable, and their faith, despite circumstances, are always attributes that I want to emulate, but also people that are genuine givers, people that are travelers and explorers. Those are definitely attributes that I always try to emulate from other people.
Okay. Are these all personal people in your life, or is there anyone where if you threw out some names, people would know who they were?
Most of them are personal people in my life, but
Okay.
I also get a lot of inspiration from books. So two recent authors that I've been checking out were Christine Kane of Hillsong and Rachel Hollis. Both of those they're business owners. They have nonprofits, and they're women who've been through a lot but still remain rooted in God and able to just really get through anything in faith. So those are two women that I really look up to.
I love that. Okay, and the last question is, what do you have to say to the world?
The biggest thing that I feel right now for the world is that I want the world to be reminded to be genuine. I want them to be authentic and thoughtful. I think that everybody is messed up or has been through something in some sort of way, and I think that we should use that to grow closer to one another, but also use that to fellowship and figure out how to get through together. There's so much hurt and pain and just evil stuff out here in the world, and I just think we should use our experiences to propel us forward, and while we're still here, make it a better world for the next generation.
Yes. Love that. All right, show me what you drew. This has been crazy.
I didn't finish, but
it's fine. You can just hold it up
just
for
hold
the
it up.
camera. Yep.
Okay. I didn't finish what I drew, but I started drawing fire with the colors that I chose. It's been something that I've been thinking about, particularly today, how fire can be one of the things that is so powerful that it causes destruction, but it's also a purifier, and it cleanses too. So it's something that I've been thinking about while I'm going through the fire of the healing process. I feel like it's painful, it's burning, it feels like it's destroying me, but ultimately I feel like it's for a greater purpose, and I think that I'm already being shown that it's setting me up to help other people, so it's definitely an edifying process.
First of all, thank you so much.
Yeah, no
for
problem.
doing this.
This is Charlei in the flesh.
Yay.
Thanks.